You know, now don't try to go in and tell them don't tell them you came in there to stop them. Go on and let them march a couple of blocks. Yeah, let them march a couple of blocks. Let them sit down on the highway for 20 minutes. But then cause them to stand down. Lead them into the paddy wagons. Or talk to them and say, all right, y'all, it's time for us to go now. 2, countdown to 8 hours begins at the moment the president determines the emergency to be national, coordinated, and it's going to last a while. 3, county police join local police. That's the 7th hour. 6th hour, state police join county and local police. 5th hour, federal marshals join state, county, and local forces. 4th hour, National Guard units are federalized and held in readiness. Now, down to the 3rd hour now. Regular armed forces alerted, take up position. Now notice this, highlight this part. Minority troops divided and detained. Y'all see this? In other words, yeah, you in the Army, you in the Marines, with your M16. But when the president declares an emergency, we're going to take your M16 from you. Even though you done went and almost gave your life for this country. When the president declares an emergency and it's time to round up all these black folk and put them in some of these storage facilities until we decide what we're going to do with them. Y'all, why you think they building all these storage facilities? Y'all ain't got that much stuff to put in storage. Come on, y'all. Think. Storage facilities with running water. What boxes need with running water? Minority troops divided and detained along with all white sympathizers under guard. Down to the 2nd hour. All minority leaders, national and local, detained. Why is it that they want to detain the leaders? You know, why just the leaders? Now, they ain't round up all of our people yet, just the leaders. 9, president goes on national radio and television and tells black folk and the Hispanics, y'all got 1 hour to stand down. If they don't listen, down to 0 hours, all units under regional commands into the emergency. Engage. Now, here's a note. Zero Committee report. And this was called the Zero Committee. And of course, talking about zero population. Survey shows that during a 6-year period, production created 9 million objects. What in the world is that? Or 1.5 million each year. Production could not dispose of the containers, which proved a bottleneck. However, that was almost 20 years ago. And remember, this was done in 64. 20 years before 64 is 44. 1944, 1943, 1944. That's when the Holocaust took place, y'all, in Nazi Germany. Yes, yes. And what happened was the furnaces that Hitler used to burn these people weren't hot enough. Right. So when they start throwing the bodies in the furnaces, the bodies weren't burning up fast enough, and it caused the furnaces to get clogged up. So notice what this report says. We suggest that vaporization techniques be employed to overcome the production problems inherent in King Alfred. What does that mean? Well, as a result of the recommendation, they began to build what we call high volume or nuclear-powered trash incinerators. And these incinerators burn 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Y'all listen, steel, depending on the kind of steel it is, melts between 2,600 and 2,700 degrees. Now, steel will melt at that temperature. Why do you need a incinerator that burns 5,000 degrees? So that the furnaces don't get clogged up again. When they take those people who they detained and gas them, put them to sleep, Lord have mercy, put them on these conveyor belts that roll into this furnace, as soon as they get in there, poof. Now I know it's not good news. Preacher, I didn't come here to feel sad today. Hey, if you don't know, you're going to really feel sad. Because the biblical text says it this way: my people are destroyed because of a lack of knowledge. Don't say it can't happen, people. Don't say it can't, because on February 21st, 1942, Executive Order 9066 was implemented. And on February 21st, 1942, every Japanese American in this country was arrested and detained. And the law stated if they were 1/16 Japanese, they were to be locked up too. When the Japanese, the war, World War II. I don't say it can't be done. But see, Japanese got sense. We bombed Japan. Now Japan owns us. Isn't that deep? 60 years later, Japan is one of the richest countries in the world. They own more property in this country than anybody else. They didn't walk around with a sign saying, "We shall overcome." Japanese didn't do that. Japanese said, "I'll tell you what we're going to do. They bombed us. We're going to send our children to their schools." Now you go into hospitals and look at the majority of the doctors. Majority of doctors are now Korean slant-eyed doctors. Yeah, buddy. What I'm sharing with y'all, brothers and sisters, is a reality. I'm giving you this information, and there's a whole lot more that I could give you here. But what you must understand is the most important point here is that your government is depending on you being ignorant.
So yeah, what more proof do you need? I mean, when you look at that, it gotta make you mad. It's the whole reason why I'm making this video, because black people, we need to unite. Black people are so busy trying to unite with a being who never existed, who's not real, named Jesus Christ. And they are destroying themselves because of this whole fake Bible thing. They have so many weapons against us, and we have nothing. We don't even have the knowledge to form a weapon. And you got a few people who's screaming and banging on the wall and trying to get the attention of black people, saying, "Hey, wake up." But we get looked at like we crazy. Like we don't know what the hell we're talking about. And I don't know what it is. And well, I know what it is. It's psychological warfare. But it's like this thing with us that when we see a black person trying to do something, we always feel like he got this ulterior motive or he's crazy. But in reality, it's just, well, in my case, I really genuinely believe that we can do this, that it's possible if we just wake up and get the knowledge. It may not happen in my lifetime, but at least I can say I did something to try to help us out. At least I can say I'm on record trying to help my people out, and I can go with a clear conscience knowing that I put my heart into something and I tried to help out our race. Now, if we don't start paying attention to what's going on in the black community and start paying attention to what these politicians are doing, we don't have a party that represents us. And even if we did, and in my opinion, they would probably get bought out. We need somebody who has genuine heart, who really wants to help the black community. Now, we putting all this money into these white people's pockets, entertainment, sports. I mean, that's all well and good that this brother made it and he doing something, but if he's not helping his community out, what the fuck do I care for? I mean, really, don't get me wrong, that's one of the things they got right. I love sports, I love football. I mean, but that money is not helping us out. It's helping out that individual black person and his family. It's not helping out the community. So why haven't these black celebrities, these black athletes come together? Why haven't they come together to do something to aid in helping black people? And it's because we have this poisonous mindset that everything is, I'm shitting on you, I got it, you don't. If you could make it tomorrow that everybody's on an equal par, there's no poor people, everybody has the same amount of money, everybody is rich or wealthy, everybody has everything that they need, I guarantee you that if we could vote on that, the people who have money already is going to vote against it. They're going to say, no, I don't want everybody to be rich like me, because I want to shit on people. And it doesn't really have so much to do with their character. I mean, yeah, it does, but I mean, it's the way they have been They have evolved. It's the way that the genes have passed along through them, and that's what makes them the way they are. I mean, it's the way that their mind has been controlled with TV and with the music and everything. And yeah, I believe that people are genuinely good and have a good heart. I mean, some of these celebrities do good things, and it's not always about a tax break all the time. They do good things in private, but secretly, they're glad that they are above people. I mean, they like that power. They like people to worship them and look at them, you know, in that way. But I think that if we could pass a law, we could all vote that everybody is rich and on the same level. Most of the people would be like, nah. Even people who ain't got money probably be like, well, you know, I want to come up and shit on my neighbor, or I don't like this bitch, I want to shit on her. I don't want her to be equal to me. Not realizing that hard work gets you more than somebody. And no matter what level you on with a person, I could be on the same level, but if you do more than that person, you're going to rise above them. And it's hard work that rises above a person. It's not no kind of feeling or animosity that you have against a person that's going to make you somehow, you know, be better than them. It's hard work, and that's how you get people respect. Ain't nobody gonna respect you if you don't have nothing. You got to get something, and that's how you get respect. But how come these celebrities and these so-called athletes not helping us? How come they haven't put together a plan? Now, Tupac, I think he put together a perfect plan, and he mentioned it in his recording that I heard. And if you listen to it, he kind of basically gave us the blueprint that celebrities could use to fix the black community. Now, listen to this.
And I want to get this organization started with you. Only we could do it. Let me tell you the idea.
Right.
It's like we start like this youth league, right? Like football league, basketball, football, softball, for girls and boys. I'm going to get all the rappers to adopt a team.
Right.
Each rapper have his own team. Coolio have his team, Tretch have his team, I have my team. And we play. And the rappers are the ones that put the money up. We get the field, we play. Right. We have like the churches come out and sell food.
That's real.
We had the fathers and the uncles and all of the men in the community, they do security.
Right.
Get their respect back for the kids and everything. Then we had the FOI come out. We had the deacons from the church. They do security. And we just play football, baseball, you know, get that community spirit going again.
I'm with it,
Then
man.
on the weekends, we have block parties.
All right.
And every rapper got to get up. Every rapper, nigga, if you got a record out, you got to get up for us. You got to come do a free show for the hood.
That's real.
And it's like a little tour. So we do that. And we get all the communities back together. Now, I'm talking to Al Sharpton about this, some other motherfuckers with some power. And then when we do that, we register the voters. And if we can register them for Democrats, Republican, or Independent. Once we register the voters, we have power. Then we start going up to the mayors of these cities and telling them, look, we got this many voters in this city. We want you to do this. We want a community center. We start hitting up Nike for the free clothes, the computer stores for the free computers for each community center. And if they don't, then shit, that's how many people we have in those cities we can regulate. You know what I mean? If we telling the mayor, nigga, if you don't do this, then we ain't gonna do this. If we telling them we can clean up the streets, I'm gonna have all these tough ass supposed to be gangster rappers. We're gonna all get in the van. We're gonna travel. LA got to be the last place because it's gonna be hardest. But we can do New Jersey, all of that. We're gonna drive to all these drug areas, right? Imagine me, Redman, Tretch, Ice Cube, them type of niggas getting out, going up to the whoever's the main drug dealer on that block. Who runs shit? You know, if we get out of a van, be like, what's up, nigga? How y'all doing? What's up? Yo, who the nigga that runs shit? They gonna take us to that nigga. We invite those niggas to dinner. Invite them niggas to some Jean Perignon, steak and lobster, and be like, look, player, we asking you, not telling you, we asking you as a player to a player, can you please give us a pass to have these streets clean from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m., 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Let that be for the kids. Let them the niggas be safe during those times. No gunshots, no drug dealers. From 11 p.m. to 6 a.m., y'all can have the streets back. But let us get the streets from these times. Then we can get these politicians. I talked to Al Sharpton. He said he can get the police to like chill out on those nighttime patrols if niggas can get the streets clean from 6 to 11.
Hey, and you know what else too though? When I talk to you face to face, I'm gonna drop some shit on you, right? Some other stuff too, right? But yeah, that's that, man. You know, I'm with all that, right? And you know, that's my type of work.
Yeah, we need power, man.
I'm telling you, hey, dig it, man. You know, hey, I'm telling you. We got power, man.
Yeah, we need power. Power is numbers, and it's like we rappers, man. While we don't have, we got the juice, we just ain't doing nothing with it.
So why haven't any of these celebrities done anything like this, or try to put a conscious effort together to help the black community? Not just a once a year thing where you help out a couple people, but a major thing. I mean, we have Oprah's a billionaire. You know what I'm saying? Dre's a billionaire now. Hove and Beyonce, billionaire couple, Diddy and all of them. We're talking about billions of dollars that these rich celebrities have, but we can't help one community. I mean, they had enough money. They got enough money to go into the poorest black community, let's say somewhere in Detroit, and help those people out. I mean, basically revitalize that area and help these black people out, but they're not doing that. They haven't helped nobody do anything. Now, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me that you gotta just really look at what our money goes into. It goes into them. So, I mean, you will hope that if I'm giving you money to help you out, that when it comes time for you to help me back out, that you will do something. Like, even if you don't help me, help them, help somebody, and make it count. Don't make it a charity thing, don't make it a tax thing, but make it like something big or something that's going to be long lasting, that's going to help a bunch of black people out, instead of you just showing up at a party or showing up at some kind of charity event where you're going to get eaten, probably get paid to go. So instead of help the black community, these rappers and these movie stars have chosen to destroy the black community in exchange for fame and fortune. And if you don't believe that, listen to the music, look at the movies, and just pay attention to what's going on. Why are they doing this? Instead of telling black women that you are descended from kings, that you are descended from pharaohs, telling men that they have the knowledge and the power to do anything if they just unite, telling them what's really going to happen if they go ahead and bang a nigga in the chest, if they go ahead and do this and do that, do all these thug things. Why don't they educate these black men and tell them that, hey brother, yo, if you shoot this dude, you're going to spend the rest of your life in jail. You're going to have to go to court. You're going to have to stand in front of that man's family and a bunch of white people, and they're going to look at you like you're fucking crazy and talk down to you. And then when that part's over, guess what? You're going to go to jail where you could possibly get killed by another motherfucker, or butt fucked, or treated like shit, or beat the fuck up every day, or starve to death. Why isn't it a conscious effort to do that? Do you understand the influence and power that these celebrities have? You got girls walking around trying to look like Nicki Minaj, trying to look like Beyonce. These guys defending Jay-Z, trying to be like Jay-Z, trying to be rap stars. The influence that they have on the masses of black people is unparalleled to any other person. And that's hip-hop, because everybody want to be cool. Everybody want to be a star. Everybody want to be popular. And these celebrities, especially the black ones, because they don't only influence us, they influence white people as well. So why haven't they taught these women about their bodies and how their bodies are going to mature and how more men are going to want them? Instead of educating these black women about the dangers of just because you look good could have in a black community or anywhere, they say, hey, you know, find a rich man or find a guy that's going to look at you that way and use him. You know, can't pay my bills, can't pay my telephone bills, you know, Scrubs. All these songs just kind of trying to turn black women into hookers, into prostitutes. I mean, that's basically what it's doing. Instead of telling them, hey, black sister, you are a descendant of queens. You are descendants of queens who have held the throne and have ruled nations, who have consorted with senators. Like, why isn't this knowledge being passed to black women? I mean, you just look at the way black women are portrayed on TV. I mean, they turn on the TV to look at these music videos, and all they see is black women shaking their ass. And that's what they try to be. So we got almost every gorgeous bad black chick is either in some kind of magazine showing her ass, or Facebook showing her ass for free, or in some porno, or a stripper, because they don't have the mindset that they can do something more than that. And it's creating animosity between them and black women who do look good, that's not out there doing these things, who just trying to, you know, fit in and just trying to do the right thing. And that create animosity, because see, us as black men, we look at those women who trying to do the right thing and we stereotype them based on the women who are strippers, based on our past experience with women, and we don't realize this thing really stems all the way back to slavery. Now, I was saying earlier about genetics and how genes are passed down and how traits are passed down, how we pass down our looks from our ancestors, how we pass down certain things we do from, you know, our grandparents or parents or whatever like that. So this thing really goes back to slavery, and you got to look at it, because when the slave master saw the beautiful, good-looking black woman, he raped her. You know, he took her, and sometimes they fell in love with these black women, and they gave black women special privileges. Either, you know, you get with the white guy, and then he gives you things. He dressed those black women in clothes he would dress his white wife, and they looked good, and they didn't have to do the slave chores, and they didn't have to do the things that the slaves did. They could just chill and relax and, you know, sip their tea and just boss black people around. Now, for the black women who didn't want the white man's advances or didn't want to be raped by a white man, what could they do? They probably looked at those black men for help, but those black men couldn't do anything. They probably watched them get raped. What could they do? They couldn't do anything. But at the same time, you have these black men getting bossed around by these black women because they sleeping with the white slave master, and the black man looking at the black slave woman like, you a sellout, like you a whore. But really, what could they possibly do? What could they do? So this created an animosity. It's called divide and conquer. It's called divide and conquer, and it's one of the reasons why they start separating the children from their parents. Now, I want you to look at this real quick and look at what this guy has to talk about that.
Well, first I want to say something to the ladies in the audience. I want you ladies to understand that African women, and you're the genetic reproductions of our mother, were considered the most beautiful women on the planet for thousands of years by all of the civilized people of the world. The Greeks thought so much of your beauty that they named 2 star constellations after you, Andromeda and Cassiopeia, the two most beautiful star constellations that are in heaven. They say that they have all of the beauty of the setting sun, hair which is alive, and a figure incomparable even today. So I don't want you to think that just because we went through 400 years of horror where they were saying you were ugly, that you believe that, because you're the most beautiful people. Well, you are imitated by everybody. So I want to say that before we get on to the discussion.
That's right, that's right.
That's right.
Incredible.
In answer to your question,
yes.
And you thought that's because I'm old, I forgot the question.
His memory's better than mine.
I hate to ask this question because it's embarrassing. How many of you who are African Americans, how many of you know the African city and country from which your ancestors were born? Except my daughter.
Not one hand went up.
Not one hand went up. I asked this question of 500 whites. How many of you know the city and country? I was teaching at a university, a white university, just outside Philadelphia. Every hand went up. They knew not only the country from which they came, not only the city, but the borough from which their ancestors came. Now, how come they know and none of you know? Here's the reason. And here's the reason why I am different. The reason is that these South Carolina and North Carolina plantation owners went to Germany to find out how they could control our fathers and mothers on the plantation. But they were getting out of hand. They were burning the houses down, they were killing white folks. They were doing everything negative about being in captivity. They were never slaves. They were prisoners of war, the War of 1591. So what happened was they sought the advice of an expert in Shanghai history. Now, his name was Johann Blumenbach, and he was the head of the Department of History at the University of Göttingen in Germany. How many of you know this? I know you was taught this in college and everything, all you college folks. Well, when they sought his advice, they said, do they know that they're the Shanghai people? So the plantation owners who traveled over there to seek his advice said, well, of course they know that they come from the great Shanghai Empire. Well, that's your problem. You can't let them know that they came from greatness, from grandeur, from beauty, from sophistication, you'll never be able to control them. So the plantation owner said, well, how can we prevent it? I mean, the mothers and the fathers would tell the children, say, you came from Timbuktu and you came from the city of Janneh, and that's where we were born. And then the Europeans came over and invaded us in 1591 and marched us to the seas, to the waiting ship. Man, you can't allow them to teach that to their children. They said, well, how you want to stop it? Here's how you do it. Here's why you don't know where you're from. Blumenbach said, what you do, as soon as a boatload arrives, take the babies out the mama's arms. Send the parents to a distant plantation and work them to death and raise the children to believe that they came from a jungle. They won't know the difference.
That's right.
How would they know?
That's right.
Their parents are gone. Now, here's the difference between me and you. When they captured my grandmother, I'm not going through, you heard the beginning of the story. My grandfather was a lawyer and a sculptor in Benin City, Nigeria. And the English kept on coming over stealing his sculpture.
Wow.
Some of his sculpture ended up at the art museum in West Philadelphia, where they came to show it off because it was world-class sculpture.
So have you been able to see this sculpture?
Oh, sure.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got some in the book.
Incredible.
But anyhow, what happened was his wife hassled him and said, don't fight the English when they come over, just let them have the sculpture. I'm pregnant, and they'll kill you. Then I'll be a widow, and they'll put me on board ship and take me over there where they're taking all the rest of those prisoners of war. But my grandfather, whose name was Mwale, said, I'm fighting them. I'm not going to let them steal my sculpture anymore. And he gathered some of his fellow sculptors, and they fought the English when they came over to steal. They always stealing something. And they killed him, killed my grandfather, and put his wife, his pregnant wife, my great-great-great-grandmother on board the ship. And the ship was named Jesus, by the way. That's deep. I've been angry ever since. Well, at Jesus, not at Jesus, but and on the way over, the baby was born.
Wow.
All right, name of Diane. She named Diane. Now, it was bound for South Carolina. How many of your ancestors came from South Carolina? Raise your hand.
Oh, boy.
A whole bunch of folks. They were bound for South Carolina. But in 1808, this was 1813, in 1808, a law was passed by Congress forbidding more importations of the Songhai people. We're the Songhai people.
Right.
See, Blumenbach said, don't allow them to even learn that they came from the Songhai Empire.
We're going to try to breed them here on this continent rather than continuing the cultural memory.
They don't even let them learn the name Songhai. Because then they'll start investigating. Then take away their ability to read and write, pass laws against them learning to read and write. Then they can't learn anything about the Songhai Empire. And they passed a law, 200 years, a law not allowing blacks to learn to read and write. Well, anyhow, in 1808, this law was passed forbidding any more importations of the Songhai people. Now, nobody paid any attention to that law at all except one little group called abolitionists. Now, the abolitionists put their money together and they bought a ship. And they patrolled the seas looking for prisoner of war ships, which you all were trained to say slave ships. They were no slave ships, they were prisoner of war ships.
Very important.
Were coming, very important distinction.
That's right.
And when we teach our children, they were never slaves.
That's
they
right.
were children, descendants of prisoners of war. Like McLean, he was a prisoner of war.
That's right.
He wasn't a slave.
That's right.
He got captured by the enemy.
That's right.
On the way, this abolitionist ship captured the ship that my great-great-grandmother was on. So instead of this baby being taken from my arms in South Carolina, the ship was towed to Trenton, New Jersey. And of course, Nzinga, who was the baby's mother, my great-great-great-grandmother, taught the baby that her father was a world-class sculptor, that her father was a lawyer, that he went to world-class university. So I was trained from babyhood, you know, that we've got to right this wrong.
That's right. That's right.
So I was, you know, it's your job, because you were spared by just an act of God, an act of the ancestors, to not let the baby being taken from Nzinga's arms. And the baby grew up, and she had a child. Her name was Mary Diane Thomas, and she was my great-grandmother, and she helped raise me.
Wow.
So she told me the story when I was a kid, you see. So that's how I know
where
we're from.
Wow.
That's what